Welcome back everyone to our first Binding of Isaac tier list on this channel. This is going to be the character tier list. These have been done to death already back when the game first came out, but I wanted to personally wait until we had the fully fleshed out versions of these characters because it really isn't fair to put like pre-patch Tainted Laz next to a character like, you know, Bethany or Forgotten because the character wasn't finished. It really wasn't a fair place to put him. But now that we have what I would consider to be these fully implemented characters in the game finally, I think it is finally time I can sit here and truly quantify every character as fun, not fun, bad, and good. So without further ado, let's list off our tiers here. First off, we have the most fun. That's like your top 3 characters in the game for fun. Next, you have lots of fun. They're really fun, but you know, they aren't like top dog. Then you have could be fun. They have good potential, you know, characters that rely more on the seed than their own intrinsic character trait, but they have a good way to pop off on these runs. And you have kind of like I'm indifferent on these characters tier. You have the bad, which speaks for itself, and then you have the I hate everything, which would also speak for itself. You might be wondering to myself why I don't have the top tiers labeled as like good, greatest, or S plus and stuff like that. I think it's really hard to quantify a character as inherently good or bad just because your run, I think, makes your character good or bad. I think the fun value is derived more from the character than the actual run, because you have characters and mechanics where they can, you know, turn soul hearts into charges, or they have intrinsically better items. So it's really hard to say a character is good rather than the character is fun. Plus, when you're playing a video game, you're looking to have fun more than anything else, right? So anyways, let's start off here with Isaac. Isaac is going to go in this could be fun, good potential tier. Let me explain why. Outside of D6, this character has literally nothing going for him. Without D6, he would probably be in either of these two tiers. He's got the most extremely average stats with these new Tainted characters, honestly, on the lower end of stats. He's got no starting trinkets or, you know, benefits outside of having the D6 itself, and the D6 is pretty much the potential giving item. It can turn your really trashy item room from BBF to Polyphemus. It is the way you make your run that matters, and that's why I think he is really fun. It's just without the D6, I mean, you're playing as literally the most average character in the books, honestly. But because of D6, he has a lot of potential, and I think he has the chance to make your runs truly shine. Anyways, moving on here, we now have Magdalen. This is a hard one for me to put down because, as most of you know, I really value sacrifice rooms in my runs. I think that sacrifice rooms are the way to play the game now, from angel items to angel teleports to soul hearts, money, key pieces. They're really, really good to play, and having that yum heart and also the full health pill means within your first 3 floors, if you find a sacrifice room, you are bound to get something amazing out of it, or something that at least pushes you towards the edge. But I think because it is just, at the end of the day, just Yum Heart and just a one-time full health, she goes in the same tier as Isaac. Though Yum Heart and the full health for sacrifice rooms, or even IV machines on your second floor early game, is the definition of potential. Potentially buying, with a new donation machine and everything like that, the money is important. You can no longer just sit there with a golden bomb and get infinite money from your machines. Arcades are a lot more important now. And the Yum Heart and the full heals and everything like that, it really makes that more important to you, and it makes it more accessible on these runs. So the potential is really there. She is bordering, I will say, on lots of fun to me just for having the free sacrifice room stuff. But the same thing with Yum Heart, you can just find like 8 hearts in the ground on a given floor and you're fine for sacrificing and stuff. So I'll put her in potential for the really strong chance to get a really good early game. But I don't feel good about putting her anywhere different than here. Higher or lower, I will say. But next we have Cain. This was before Appendix came out. One of my favorite A-side characters. He's kind of fallen off from me a little bit here just because I feel like you can get a lot of his benefits just by playing a normal run. But because Luckfoot got rebuffed to having only neutral to good pills, I'm going to put Cain in the lots of fun. And hear me out on this one. Lockpick, free golden chest. When you don't have a lot of keys in your first couple of floors, it's huge to have those free golden chest opens. Luckfoot, for really good pills early game. I mean, if you guys didn't watch the Nuzlocke, I lost 2 of my characters to really bad pills on the first 2 floors that killed my runs. If I would have had Luckfoot or played as Cain, I would have had, you know, a greater start. I would have finished those runs super strong. So being able to take unknown pills with no risk, having free golden chests, and actually a pretty high damage stat for a first floor or first, you know, entering a run character, he's lots of fun. The drawbacks is the 2 HP. It does make devil deals kind of null and void in your first, if you find one on your first couple of floors, because if you don't get the HP you need to pay for one, you could be at a 1 heart situation after that. So I feel like with Cain, your best bet is to run Angel, and that kind of pushes your power off by 1 or 2 floors if you're not getting a deal for the first part of Basement 2 or Caves 1. But he makes up for that really strongly with his trinkets and his pills, so I'm going to put him in lots of fun. And now we have Judas. Judas. Like I said, I'm not going to quantify by necessarily good. I'm going for fun mostly. Judas. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. 1 heart. You have a reasonable chance of dying early game as his character. Plus, for someone who's so devil-oriented, the Belial, he can't really reasonably take deals in your first 2 floors because you will most likely perish and die for good. And that really does put a damper on him. Plus, with the Book of Belial nerf back in Afterbirth, it really does make him a less fun character. Because outside of Belial, what does he have? He has like a little bit better than Cain's damage. Like, congrats, I guess. I'm going to put him in like indifferent. I don't really care for Judas that much either way. Outside of Book of Belial, like, if you look at D6 or Belial, D6 is obviously better. Belial is increased devil or angel chance, but when you can't even take a deal on your first or second floor reasonably, it doesn't really help you out that much, because once you find a better active, you're taking that over Belial. You don't need the extra 3 damage per boss fight when you're entering down to the womb floors normally. If you do, your run is complete garbage. You got to work on your playing there, but I'm going to put him in indifferent for right now. And now Blue Baby. There's no question about it. He's going in the bad tier. Any character that, like, it's so hard to explain this, but there are very few characters in this game, I think 4 top of my head, maybe 5, that can only take soul hearts. But the difference between Blue Baby regular and those characters is that those characters are already powerful. That no red heart trade-off makes sense. With Blue Baby, he is literally just Isaac with no red hearts and no D6. You get Petrified Poop, sure, you have kind of a run going there, I guess, but he doesn't do much for me. He's really, really boring. I always have trashy runs with him. Devil deals always cost you at least a quarter of your HP, if not more. So, like, he has no benefits. He has no upsides to me. He's close to going in I hate everything, because I hate this character. We'll maybe organize this later, but for right now, he's going in bad for sure. Eve is going in lots of fun, potentially the most fun for me. Eve, if you guys don't know, is in my top 2, either 1 or 2 of my A-side characters. We'll get to that other one later, but Eve, like, what do you say about Eve, right? You have Intrinsic Horror of Babylon. It's insane damage early on. You have the Razor, which can be used to stack so much damage in boss fights. Dead Bird for doing extra boss damage and room clearing and stuff like that. I mean, the start is insane. Having the 1 heart Horror of Babylon means you can synergize that with Dark Prince's Crown. You can still play IV machines reasonably. She's a really, really, really good character. And I don't got to explain it, but she is a lot of fun to play. Her early game steamrolls. If you can carry your 1 heart Horror of Babylon to like floor 3 and get a decent deal, your run is set. I mean, you have Horror of Babylon for 0 hearts to 1 heart. That's a really good deal for you. So Eve, lots of fun. Samson. I think this character gets slightly overrated. If you don't get an IV bag, or you don't get a Razor or Dull Razor or things like that, he loses his power. He just ends up being like essentially Isaac to a degree with a little bit better stats. He's really hard to put anywhere. I think like it could be fun, good potential is a good like place for him, but my other thought is sacrificing, right? I already said in this video, I prefer sacrificing over like any other way to get items. And if you can sacrifice as Samson early on a floor, you get a lot of benefits. The problem is, sacrifice rooms are usually found like off the beaten path, so by the time you actually find one, you've already cleared out mostly like half of your floors, so there's really no benefit to doing that. The best way to use Bloody Lust is to get that damage done to you as soon as you enter a floor, whether it be first room, blood oath, things like that. I gotta say it, I'm kind of indifferent on Samson. The extra damage early game is nice, but outside of, like, once you get to your devil deal floors and you can't be taking red heart damage that often, it really doesn't do much for me. Now, hear me out here. Like, it does help out, you know, walking into a curse room gives you damage for a floor. Opening a spike chest gives you damage for a floor. But it's very minute, and I feel like I could do without that damage and win those floors anyways. Now, there have been runs where I've been stuck using only Bloody Lust, but I think I'm pretty indifferent. It's pretty like, oh, I got him. Okay, cool. I can do this, right? It's more of like a, oh, cool, I have Bloody Lust. That's nice. And then that's kind of the end of that discussion right there. So we'll just move on right now. Next, we have a Zazel, who a lot of, like, Isaac purists don't like this character because it's just extremely easy and pretty broken. But they're broken and they're also fun. I am somebody who doesn't really... This is a thing, right? Like, I don't feel good about ever playing this character because it's a free win. Playing as Zazel is a free win. I never feel good about playing as this character. It's short range brimstone. It's high damage. It's flight early game. Like, the character is a lot of fun, but I always feel cheesy playing as them. I wouldn't say most fun because I think there's a level of challenge that makes fun. And Zazel has no challenge to them. They start with 3 black hearts, sure, but you can also pick up red hearts. So it kind of defeats the purpose of having a soul heart build there. So it's pretty much like, imagine if you had early game Judas, but had a chance to take more devil deals, and you had higher damage, and you had flight. Like, it's a really fun character, but there's no challenge there to make the character actually difficult to play, so I couldn't put them in most fun. Most fun, we'll quantify that later when we get to the first character for that, but right now, it's Lazarus time, and obviously, as most of you know, I am pretty indifferent to Lazarus. Lazarus 2 is a really nice respawn item. It's like having, you know, 4 hearts on a character, right? But the stat bonus from Laz 2, while good, is nothing like, you know, to write home about. It's a very average all stats up, which is always good, but it comes at the cost of losing your 3 or potentially more red heart containers on a certain boss fight or run, and then being at 1 heart. And that can kind of set you back a little bit. You really, if you look at Lazarus and your first thought is, oh, he has Lazrags, that should put him in indifferent for you. It doesn't really do a lot for me, and the character is pretty boring, so I'll leave it in indifferent for right now. Anyways, we have Eden next. I'm gonna get flamed for this opinion. I'm gonna get super flamed for this shit. Because this is the Isaac YouTube's, like, love child. Everybody here loves Eden, right? He's not a lot of fun to me. He's gotta be in this tier. If those of you who've been on my channel for, like, almost at least half a year now, we used to have an Eden streak going. And it was a 14 streak. There were 3 runs in a row where I started with trash items and got no stats up the entire run. That's not Eden's fault, but I have never had a good time with this character in Repentance yet because of just, I don't know if it's the lack of DPS in the boss pools or whatever it is, but I mean, he has a trade-off of, like, you can start with really powerful things or you can start with really bad things. It's just, it has to be potential. Eden is the potential character. You can have potential to start with, you know, Brimstone and Mega Blast, or you could start with, you know, Kamikaze and the Wiz. It's a big trade-off there, and I think putting him in lots of fun, he's fun for the Zane, but looking at it from my own perspective, actually playing as a character and trying to roll for decent to good stats and decent to good items, it hasn't ever worked out for me personally. Remember, this is a personal list here, not objective, so I have to say, could be fun, good potential. Now, next we have the Lost. You know what? I'm going to come back to that character later because I don't even know where to put him right now. We're going to wait on the Lost. We'll go to Lilith next. Why not? And I'm going to put her in indifferent. I almost want to put her in bad, but I wouldn't say she's bad. She has great boss killing, you know, ability. The biggest issue for me is just you can't shoot straight in front of you. And there have been so many times with this character where I've shot a tear out and it's pushed an enemy ever so slightly upwards and then hit me with that. So it's like the Incubus can screw you over, but the chance to have double DPS on a boss is immense. So I'll put her in indifferent. She has really good trade-offs for having power, but also being a little bit shit. So she's kind of in that middle tier as well. Next we have Keeper as well. If this was Afterbirth Plus, he would be going in bad. I don't know if I'd still consider him to be bad. Here's the thing, I don't mind playing as him, and I've had decent runs, but it's just like Triple Shot is the worst shot multiplier in this game by 100%. Triple Shot is worse than Conjoined in my opinion. It is a huge tiers down for not a lot of benefit. I don't know. I am pretty indifferent, but I gotta be a little bit harsher, and I think I gotta place him in bad. Well, the money is nice though, and the HP is never an issue. Sacrificing as well is like pretty good for any character. Having the ability with whether you're Maggie or Keeper or Tainted Keeper or Samson to get minor benefits out of sacrificing either way is always a positive sign. And Keeper has that ability where if you get a really good start for a run, you can go to Dark Room like literally right away if you want to. So I gotta put him in a different... I never have a great time playing as him, but I also realize that he's actually a decent character now, and he's not as bad as he used to be back in AB+, so we'll put him in a different for right now. Apollyon. Here's the thing. This is one of the exceptions where this character was a lot more fun in Afterbirth Plus than he is in Repentance. Because Repentance is just a better game. Let me explain that real quick. Every item in Repentance now is takeable. You can pick up every item in this game and have a benefit from it. Back in AB+, some items had like really big downsides, and they weren't worth the squeeze. And that's where Void was super helpful. If you found a negative item, let's say for example like Key Bum, you void that up, boom, free stats. But with Apollyon only having 2 hearts, means you really have to take a heart. When the first time you see an HP upgrade in a boss fight, you shouldn't void it. You should take that heart immediately. And every item is takeable. There's a bunch of new items that are really fun and cool in the game. You really want to never be voiding something that gives you a benefit. I mean, there are YouTubers out there, I'm not going to name names, who just skip item rooms because like, oh, it's not worth this item sucks. Every item you pick up benefits you now. There are very few drawbacks nowadays when it comes to items. You know, you can say BBF, sure. You can say Kamikaze is useless and stuff like that. But Void now is just the active smelter. It is no longer, to me, a passive stat up. And because of every item being better, it makes Apollyon disappointing, and it makes him lamer. And when it comes to characters who I was excited to play as, but just how they looked and how they were in the Bible, like biblically, Apollyon was the biggest letdown for me. The character is just plain. He is plain and boring. I'm going to put him in bad. And you know what? Let's go right ahead and put his Tainted variant also in bad. It's the same reasoning. Every item is better than getting a fly. And because the flies are not like item specific, it's lame. It's boring to me. Both these characters need something else with them. If we somehow get another patch to this game, please make these characters more interesting. God, please. We'll just go right ahead and put... This is my boy, right? You give me any melee character in any kind of roguelike, that is my player. The Bullet and Gungeon, forgotten in this game. Literally any game. This character is insane. He, I think, was the first kind of tainted character that we got in Afterbirth Plus, because he had a unique feature of being 2 characters in one. And not only that, but he was melee. He has a unique health mechanic that actually benefits him a lot. He has early flight, Devil Deal Cheese. If you learn this character, you can pretty much do anything with your runs. He is, I think, my favorite character in this game might be forgotten straight up. It's between him and another guy, which we'll get to later as well. But I guess we'll go to Bethany now, and I'll say that Bethany, she teeters on being lots of fun and the most fun for me. Book of Virtues is a better Void, if that makes sense to you, because you can trade it out, you still get the benefits that you want from your certain active items, and it doesn't take up a whole slot by itself. It's a passive active item. I think that Bethany, for me, goes in most fun. I have an amazing time playing as this character in every run that I get. You get one good active, your run's going to be crazy, insane, and fun. So she's going in the most fun for me. It's also, guaranteed angel deals floor 2, which is beautiful because that pool is so much better than devil pools now. So much better. Yeah, she's got to be the most fun for me. I mean, it's crazy. She has Angel deals, Book of Virtues start. Soul Hearts are used for battery charges for you. The amount of game breaks you can get with this character and a Wisp is out of this freaking world. So yeah, you're going to be a most fun character for me 100%. But now we've got Jacob and Esau. This is a character that when the game first came out, I hated. I really did not like this character at all when it first came out. I thought that the game was too unpolished to manage having 2 hitboxes on the screen, because the thing is, the rooms that we got in Rebirth, Afterbirth, and Afterbirth Plus were designed for one character only. So when you play as a character who has 2 hitboxes in a room that's meant for a 1 hitbox character, it feels genuinely super unfair. However, I am now used to this character a lot, and I think that they have some of the biggest potential in this game. I'm not going to put them in fun because whenever I roll them, I get really mad that I'm playing as Jacob and Esau, but they could be fun and they have great potential. You get 2 good active items on your run. If you find D6 and then, like, I don't even know, D6 and then Eternal D6 or D6, D100, you can hold R key, Deaths. You can hold so much stuff with this character. It's insane. You can hold up to 4 cards if you get the right items for it, / pills. You can hold 2 actives. You get split HP. So if you wanted to, you could have 24 HP as this character. If you play your cards right, Jacob and Esau can be your strongest pair in the game, but that is a very rare situation. More times than not, you're going to end up having a pretty rough run or a run that has a really bad HP economy. And because of that, I'm going to put him in good potential, but not necessarily lots of fun. And before we go on to the tainted characters, let's put the Lost somewhere, yeah? Lost is not most fun. Lost is lots of fun. You never have to worry at all about your HP. You have Eternal D6 for re-rolling stuff if you want to, which it could take it away, sure, but you also get a better item. So you have Holy Mantle for the HP thing, right? Eternal D6 for choosing your own items. Free Devil deals. Well, you can only take 1 at a time, but still, it's pretty much free deals. Excuse me. I mean, what else is there to say? Like, a character that doesn't really rely on having a lot of HP can be scary, but in the long run, I think it is more of a benefit than a drawback, because if you think about it this way, put Lost next to a character like Isaac and go through an entire run. If you pick up no HP as Isaac, you're going to be genuinely losing HP over the run. Let me rephrase that. I think not having to worry about my HP is one of my favorite benefits of this character, because weirdly enough, you can play super offensive with him and get away with it, because you're never losing anything in the long run, except for dying, obviously. You get hit in a room by the very end, leave the room, you're back at full HP. I mean, it's a very high, risk, but the character can steamroll super hard, so I'm going to put him in lots of fun. And Tainted Isaac as well, I'm going to put in lots of fun. Tainted Isaac is one of the weird ones where it's kind of like having a passive D6 for every item, but you can only hold 8 of them. Every run I've had as this character has been batshit crazy. I have never had a bad run as Tainted Isaac ever. And that's saying something. I mean, you walk into one good item pool room. Let's say you walk into a secret room and you see boom, it's Epic Fetus and Orphan Socks, both S tier items, honestly. You can pick whatever one you want. You walk into a boss fight. The boss dies. Oh, damn, you dropped, dinner for me. But wait, dinner is actually glass eye. You can really shape your run super hard with this. And if by any means you find the D6 or D100 or D Infinity on this run, this character becomes insanely broken with 1 dice item. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, you're lots of fun, Tainted Isaac. You're better than your regular counterpart, apparently. And same with Tainted Isaac. I mean, Tainted Maggie, man. Tainted Maggie. She is one of my favorite Tainted characters. But it's hard to put her above lots of fun, because if you don't get the right items, you're going to be struggling on boss fights for a while. But the ability, pretty much any room you walk into, as long as you have over 3 hearts, you can beat that room and gain HP back. She's a very fun character to play fast and to use your Yum Heart, optimally and things like that. but I wouldn't say she's most fun. I have a great time playing as her. Well, that's the thing is, like, I've never also had a bad run as Tainted Maggie. The reason she's such a good character in my eyes is because she makes use of items that normally on a run you would forget that you have. Old Bandage, the Pony, Gimpy, Piggy Bank. I mean, any self-damaging item becomes immensely powerful on this character, and it really kind of changes the way you look at Isaac. Before I played as this character, I kind of like trashed items that would just be like, oh, you get hit and you can drop this consumable on the ground. You get hit, you can drop this on the ground. You get hit, you can drop this on the ground. Like, it's like those are boring items to me. But now with playing as her, like, I've realized how good those can actually be, and I've really had like a great time with her. But the thing is, I've also had runs that just don't go anywhere because I don't get the right HP, I don't get the right items, everything sucks. So you're not most fun, but let it be known, chat, that she is one of my favorite characters in this game overall. And Tainted Cain is like, say what you will about the patch fixed this character. I think he was a bit too stupid. Early repentance. I mean, being able to open up a website and see every recipe for everything you want in the game is pretty lame. I am actually pro Tainted Cain randomization, but and here's the thing too. If you didn't use the wiki for the character, the patch does not change anything for you. And because I never used the wiki for this character, the patch changes literally nothing for me. I'm fine having Tainted Cain down here in, you know, good potential, because he never was meant to be a character that is like the most fun. He's a very slow character that if you play your cards right, you can craft a good run. So potential is like the key word here for him, Eden, and Isaac. He's staying in potential, and there shouldn't really be an argument about that at all, I feel like. We also now have Tainted Judas, who, again, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Dark Arts, he is just, again, Dark Arts the item. And Dark Arts is a very fun item to have. But I wouldn't even put him close to most fun for me. He can go in lots of fun. That's perfect. That's like perfect for me. He can go in lots of fun and I feel great about that. The reason he's not most fun is because his base stats or his base damage and tier rate kind of garbage. So you basically have to use Dark Arts to do anything as his character, which is fine. That's how Isaac in D6 works 100%. But it doesn't mean I'm the biggest fan of him either way. So he'll go in lots of fun. I mean, Dark Arts is a great thing to use. Free curse rooms. You can, you know, kill shopkeepers with it. You can walk through fires with it and stuff. It's really cool in that regard. It's great utility, but his actual offensive capabilities kind of rely on him just having Dark Arts, and that's a little lame to me. But he's still fun, obviously. But we'll move on now to Tainted Blue Baby. The running joke on my channel is that whenever I play as this character, on the first 2 floors, I say to myself, oh, I hate this character. Floor 4 hates, and I'm like, this character is insanely fun. The early game as Tainted Blue Baby, it blows. I'll just say it. It is awfully bad. Once you get the ball rolling on bombs and bomb synergies, and you start using your poops more accurately, he definitely shapes up. I mean, 1 tier upgrade, and you're back to having base stats, baby. So, I'm not going to say he's bad. He definitely is not bad. But I'm going to put him in a different. At this point, if I roll him, I don't care what I get. I'll have a fine run, but it's not going to be anything special, because his base stats don't allow for that. His base HP doesn't allow for that. He's an okay character, but he's nothing more for me. He's really fun when you get your poops rolling, and you can open up, you know, free curse rooms, secret rooms and things like that, but he's not all there for me yet. I hope I can get a little bit more, you know, time with him and learn him more, but for right now, I'm kind of on the fence about it, really. And now we have Tainted Eve, who, to be honest with you guys, I haven't really played a lot of this character, but what I have played, she can be pretty fun. The new patch gave her kind of a nerf, kind of a buff at the same time. I really am kind of indifferent to her either way. Like, I don't think I have a preference if I'm playing her or not. I wouldn't say she's bad. She has potential, but every character obviously does. I'm going to put her in indifferent. If I roll her, cool. If I don't roll her, cool. It doesn't really matter to me. I think that she's a very baseline, like, there's a very fun mechanic, but at this point, man, like, You're not swinging me either way. You're same as Blue Baby right here, right? You're not swinging me anyway. You're just an average character, which is fine. We need average characters so that the good characters stand out more. And now we have Tainted Samson. Good old Tainted Samson. Tainted Samson is lots of fun. Tainted Samson is lots of fun. Berserk is one of those items that you get, and you can steamroll literally an entire floor plus the boss fight just with Berserk. Or Berserk, sorry. And the synergies, too, with Berserk are insane. Chocolate milk, any kind of tier increase or anything like that. This character is very fun. Living at 0 hearts as well, super entertaining. Yeah, you're going in lots of fun. You're going in lots of fun. Whenever I roll as Tainted Samson, I get super excited to play that run with him. He almost would go into most fun just for having the rushing ability. It's really crazy, but I'm not going to push my luck with him too much right now. I think that's fine. Tainted Zazel. Weirdly enough, Tainted Zazel got nerfed, but also buffed just like Eve did in this most recent update, where your Brimstone is like generally way weaker now. The sneeze is a bit stronger. The sneeze is quite a bit stronger. Brimstone's curse now being visible is a great thing. You know, again, I'm kind of indifferent. They've reduced these characters with these nerfs and these buffs as well, making them a lot more average, which is good and bad in the same vein there. But I have no preference whatsoever with this character here. I really could not be bothered to like play a run as them and be excited for it. I was gonna, oh yeah, it's Tainted Azazel, cool, let's play it. Again, if I roll them, cool. If I don't roll them, cool. It doesn't matter to me either way. These are all very baseline average characters. Now, Tainted Eden, I'm going to put in the potential category here because I don't think he's on the same level as, you know, Tainted Isaac, Maggie, Judas, or Samson. Although we have, you know, the HP storage calculations now with the new patch, which makes this character a lot better to play as, your builds change on a dime. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to lose a run as this character anymore, just because, like, you can always roll yourself back into a better build as long as you roll into soul hearts or red hearts, things like that. But to me, this character, how I play Tainted Eden is this. I go for an angel room, then I farm for a holy mantle, and I go with that build the rest of the run. He has potential to get some crazy stuff, but the amount of cheese and kind of bullshit with this character makes him just have potential, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's lots of fun. There are runs that I get and builds that I get that are insane and lots of fun, but I wouldn't say on average he is perfectly a lot of fun. So you're staying there. And now we have Tainted Lost. This is a weird one because everyone's like, oh, he has better items, he's so good. My regular ass Lost runs get better builds than I do with this character. This character is fun until you get hit by some bullshit telefragging enemy or a random tier from across the room. Everyone puts Tainted Lost in the best character tier to be quirky about it. Like, oh, actually he's very good. Even though he's supposed to be bad, he's very good. Be honest with yourselves. Be entirely honest with yourselves. Is it ever fun to be at one hit every single room of your life? It isn't. It isn't. If you're playing on hard mode and you're going for a streak, this is a nightmare character to get. I have fun when I get good builds, but generally speaking, my builds end up being like average to great, nothing amazing. So I'm not gonna put him. I feel bad about putting him in bad, but I'm definitely not indifferent. He's a great character when you have a good run, but getting that, I mean, he has potential. You know what? The potential tier is perfect for him because he could be fun. Generally speaking, he's not fun. He's like, you know what he's like? He's like these two motherfuckers right here. He's exactly like Jacob and Esau. You have the potential to have a great run or get cheesed until you die. That's what it feels like to me. So I'm going to put you in potential, Tainted Lost. You're nothing special to me. And now we have Tainted Lilith. Okay. Character's fun. I'll say it. Character is very, very fun. Man. The character is very fun. But do they deserve to be in the lots of fun tier? The whipping mechanic, like the whip is very fun to use. I'll admit, the whip is very, very fun to use. You know, when it comes down to it, again, I am pretty indifferent on this character. I don't think I have an opinion one way or the other. I'm realizing I thought this list was going to be more fun to make because I'd be like, oh, you know, this character's actually secretly a lot of fun, but I'm just finding out now that a lot of these like characters down here, I just don't really care for it one way or the other. They're fun to play as, but they don't really have anything special going for them. So you're indifferent. You're not bad. You're not good. You're whatever. And you're going in most fun. Every shop becomes like a multiple item room for you. Devil Deals only cost money, not HP. You have innate quad shot. You have, you know, a great way to get your HP back. Great sacrificing potential. You are a most fun character to me. I love you to death, and you're my favorite guy ever. It's between him and Forgotten for my top 2 characters in this game. When it comes to playing as them for fun, I think I'm gonna have to go with Forgotten because I like playing as melee over anything else. But mark my words, Keeper is not far behind. Keeper is not far behind. Now, Tainted Forgotten. You know, a lot of my friends, shout out Emrose Twin in 96, this is like their favorite character in the game. I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype. It's fun to have those builds that really like that you can stand far away, and there's a very fun gimmicky character. I would say that they're lots of fun, but they're in between lots of fun and could be fun. Again, broken synergies, orbitals, like Nautilus, Kamikaze, any kind of bomb synergy, like this character can pop off. But generally speaking on a run, it's a very cowardly way to play, and it takes forever to truly make this run shine. So you're going to go in lots of fun, I think. You're right on the border between lots of fun and could be fun. Tainted Bethany. I would say pre-patch, lots of fun. I would say now, could be fun. The big change that happened is that now the book that she has, the Le Megaton, no longer has a guaranteed chance to pull from the pool that you're standing in. It is a 25% chance, which really kind of like knocks her down a whole tier. Being able to force devil or angel items onto yourself was a great way to play as a character with red heart charges. It was a great way to store your charges and make them worth it. But now, man, you're very like you could have a good run, you could pop off, but it's much less guaranteed. So you're could be fun. And again, also it's having the soul heart thing really kind of sucks because items are innately 25% weaker for her. So devil deals are not really worth it because it's a quarter of your HP or more, depending on how much you have in your slots at the moment. And the items aren't even as strong. So you're going to be in could be fun. Tainted Jacob is going in most fun. I did say earlier that Tainted Lost is like the quirky, he's really good character, but he's not actually. And I know Tainted Jacob borrows a lot from that character, but because of this recent patch, you went from being what I would say a bad character would be to some of the most fun. The biggest thing now being, here's the thing, if I had a Tainted Esau thing right here, he would be most fun and you would be like bad. But because you come together, Tainted Esau now ignores boss armor, meaning every enemy he attacks will do a full amount of damage. It doesn't matter if they're Mega Satan or Monstro. They will take the same amount of damage, even with scaling. Esau will literally kill almost any boss with just 2 swipes back and forth. It's a super high risk, high reward character, and I love randomizing him on the streak just for that one reason. Because if you get hit, well, also now you can pick up hearts as his ghost form. That's insane. He's really, really fun now, I swear. Give him a chance and you will fall in love once again. And finally, we have Tainted Lazarus. I have not played as him since the patch came out, but I know his changes. I'm still going to say he's bad. I'm still going to say well, he's not though. He's not bad anymore, but I'd rather not play as him. I'm going to do that. I'd rather not play as him because while, yeah, you are getting double item room items and you can pick them up as whatever character you... Well, I guess you can't choose which character... So here's the thing, too, is with Flip now, your items go to your direct character. Previously with Tainted Lazarus, you could flip off of him and pick up whatever item was sitting in your item room with whatever character you wanted to. Now the items are tied to your character with Flip. So if you want to pick up an item as Tainted Lazarus 2, it's always going to be, for example, Boom, while Laz 1's item is always going to be, for example, Proptosis. It kind of took away, and I'm friends with the developer of the game. Kilburn and I are friends, and we talked before, and I kind of liked old Tainted Laz more. I liked having the difficulty along with the agency. A lot of your agency is now taken away, and I kind of don't like that. And the reason I put Apollyon down and I hate everything is just because he's not unique. He's boring. He has nothing going for him. His flies are basic, his item choices are basic, his stats are basic. In fact, I would almost put Blue Baby down here too, just to say fuck this character, because I hate him. I hate playing as either of these guys. Honestly, I hate it all to death right now. But I'm going to take a minute here, and I'm going to organize the list into the exact order of characters that I find fun, and I'll be back in just a second. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So let me explain my final choices here on this list. I don't want to... Remember, this is a full opinion here. It's nobody's, like, objective list. It's just an opinion. So let's go from the top, best to worst. Best character in the game, the most fun for me, is the Forgotten. Like I said earlier, very strong early game, melee build, plus flight, plus 2 HP things, Devil Deal Cheese, amazing. No explanation needed there. Tainted Keeper, insanely good shops, great money economy, and sacrificing is almost pivotal as this character with the money drops that happen. It's amazing. This character has built-in quad shot, decent, stats all across the board, great item ability. He's just a wonderful character. Tainted Jacob, free Devil Deal Cheese now as the Lost form. Tainted Esau is a tier blocker. He ignores boss armor. This character is very, very strong. He is the glass cannon of Isaac. Fuck this character right here. Tainted Jacob is the glass cannon. Bethany, Book of Virtue's start is impervious here. It's so good. You should never lose a run as Book of Virtues, no matter what your active item is. It's instantaneous angel deals for you off the bat. It's great defense as well as offense. Wisps are like the greatest shield plus offensive familiars in the game. It's amazing. Lots of fun. We have as my favorite lots of fun character, Tainted Maggie. Like I said earlier, makes use of all of the previously kind of sleeper items in the game. Old Bandage, Gimpy, Piggy Bank, Fanny Pack, even like Bloody Lust, things like that. It makes use of those kind of sleeper choices you wouldn't normally pick up on a given run. The Lost. Amazing HP ability right there. It's pretty much free Holy Mantle every room. Never worrying about your HP situation is amazing. You find Glowing Hourglass, you find anything as this character that can allow you to go back out of rooms, teleport cards, Glowing Hourglass, Forget-Me-Nows. You have a way to... It's like an extra life pretty much. Plus, you can also find 9 lives as this character, making him a pretty nice, fun experience. Tainted or regular Eve. Horror Babylon at 1 heart, the Razor, Deadbird. It's great for early game. If you steamroll your first few floors, get to your first Devil Deal, find a good deal off the bat, even in your second or third one, you can steamroll the rest of the run. I've had runs where I've gone to Blue Baby with worse stats than Eve with Horror Babylon and still won those. You could win the run as Eve with no items 100%. Tainted Isaac. Passive D6 on every single item you get to choose, but it's also better than D6 because if you don't want the rolled item, you can go back to your original item as well, making him the perfect kind of run molding character, especially with only having 8 items. It does kind of pressure you to play differently, and I enjoy that about it. A thing that my friend Alexa said that I really stand by is that Isaac itself, like the game, does not make good use of its item dropping ability and only item picking up. We need more characters and items and cards that drop items, just like the Stars, the Fool, and Tainted Isaac do. Tainted Samson. I mean, inbuilt Berserk. That's it. It literally steamrolls every floor free. Tainted Judas. Dark Arts for damage building, Blackheart bombing, You could beat this game as just Dark Arts itself. It's crazy. Free curse rooms, free spike rock walks over, free spike chests. It's a great utility and offensive item as a character put together. Zazel, flight, 5.25 damage, brimstone, obviously. The Forgotten, great for cursed rooms and self-damaging things. You can play across the room very cowardly. You can do whatever you want to win as this character. It's got a bunch of great, amazing game-breaking synergies as well that can really make your runs pop off. A whole lot of fun. Kain has inertly good pills, free golden chest, and great stats off the bat. Oh, very well-rounded. Probably my favorite, like, normal, well-rounded character in this game. You know, he's not a melee build, so he's very... He is like the Rebirth best A-side character. It's amazing. Could be fun tier. Tainted Eden. You get one good build, you're rocking with that for a while. Get hit, you might lose that, but still. If you have a really good build, you should never get hit. If you just want to have like a tiny planet, lost contact, brimstone type of shit, you could literally steamroll the entire run with that. Very fun. The fact that the pool system is being fixed as we speak means you're going to have a lot more runs where you have more consistency in your item choices as well, making him less random and honestly better than Eden, who I have next here, who, like, the thing with Tainted Eden, right, is that if you get a bad run, you can roll your stats and your items. If you get a bad run or a bad start with this guy, it can spell your doom 100%. Having an extra 1 or 2 items does not mean you're going to win your run. It can literally make your run worse. So he's hard to quantify because he's extremely random, but you honestly have more player choice as Tainted Eden than you do as Eden, funny as that is. Tainted Lost, the meme character. Everyone's like, oh, he's so good. Trust me, dude. He's really good to play as. He's very not. People are just trying to be quirky when they say that. He does have better items, sure, but the trade-off is definitely not worth it for me. The ability to have no HP upgrades and items that are only useful as the Lost is very, very fun and very, very nice. But outside of just, you know, being a better item generator, he's nothing more than that to me. He kind of falls short a little bit. He's fun to play as, but I mean, one wrong move and you're going to be salty the rest of your day. You get hit by one wrong telefrag or one wrong tier, your day is fucking over. You're going to be going to bed mad, waking up mad, making breakfast mad, eating food mad. It's not going to be a good time. Jacob and Esau could be fun, good potential. You can carry 2 active items, 2 cards, 2 pills, whatever you want to hold. It can really make your strategy super in-depth, which I like a lot. I'm a big strategy-based player, so having the choice to carry down 2 things per floor is very, very nice for building up a strong run. But you could have those runs that also just never give you good things, and you're stuck with trying to manage 2 characters' HP with like half the items. So, you know, pick your poison, right? Isaac, he's literally the blueprint character. If he did not have D6, he would be in probably bad. His stats kind of pale in comparison. Like, look at all of these characters up here. They literally all have better or the same stats as him. He's only here because of D6. D6 is the run chooser. It's like Tainted Isaac, but active, and you can also hold more than 8 items. It's very, very fun, but it also could backfire on you pretty badly. If you get in a system, like I usually have this issue where I'll just keep rolling things until I find the best item when I'm passing up really good items. You gotta watch yourself with him, but he's overall pretty good. Maggie's the same thing. You get sacrifices super easy with Yumheart plus full health pill. It makes the early game strong if you find a sacrifice room. Aside from that, though, she is not much to write home about. She can be good, though, because the sacrifice rooms really do make your runs. Tainted Cain, he's random now. It pretty much spells out good potential, could be fun. Need I say anything else? Tainted Bethany is the same way. Random wisps now, pretty much. You can't really control them. Makes her worse than lots of fun, but it's still better than indifferent because she's still fun to play as, in my opinion. Indifferent, you know, this is a very quick one to go through here. Tainted Lilith, very fun mechanic. The whip is nice, but outside of the whip, she doesn't have much going for her. Regular Samson, Bloody Lust the character. If you don't have a good soul heart economy, you're not going to be having a great time trying to farm for damage. You got to find IV machines, blood banks, things like that early in your floors. Remember, Bloody Lust only lasts for your floor. If you don't find your arcade or your IV machine or your whatever until the end of your floor, you're just playing as Isaac with better shot speed. And it's just, it kind of is a little of a letdown, but a bit lame, if you will. Judas is the same thing. I mean, the 1 heart start is dangerous, but the actual damage you get from it is very nice. I would say he's worse than Isaac for the main reason being the HP thing, because once you find, there are plenty of active items in this game that are better than Book of Belial, and once you find that and you drop Book of Belial, you are just now a 1 heart Isaac with a bit more damage. So, again, pretty basic character, not much to write home about. Tainted Eve is the same thing for me. While she can get pretty OP pretty fast, the nerf kind of nullifies her stacking up a ton of clots one by one. It can make it easier or harder depending on your current build. It's a very up in the air thing. If you get a lot of clots, sure, you're going to be fine, but it's also playing at half heart that worries me a lot, and that can also make the trade-off not super worth it. Regular Lilith, it's just the incubus being behind you and not directly in front of you and shooting where you're standing can push enemies into you. It can miss tiers. It can make you take forever on rooms. It's dangerous. It is very, very scary sometimes as this character, but she's not bad because you have the ability to kill bosses very easily. I respect that a lot. Regular Laz, probably the most singular, just average, boring character in this game aside from like the Apollyon is down here. It's just no active item. You get one respawn that you can only use once that puts you down at 1 heart. Like, it's again, these are not special characters at all. These are very average, non-special characters. Ironically enough, this guy back here is the most you know what? Put him up here. He is the single most interesting character in the indifferent tier, 100%. Tainted Blue Baby has ways to buff your stats with your poop mechanic. You can buff your stats that way. You can use infinite bombs, things like that. He has more strategy than any of these characters here, I feel like. Laz is boring. Tainted Zazel can't fly. Weaker Brimstone. Brimstone's curse is nice, but it's still like, it's only cool for the first time you see it. Then it's kind of like, okay, it doesn't really do a ton for me. He's kind of like a whatever character still to me. Now we get into the bad tier, which I rearranged a little bit down here. I put Keeper down here to balance, to make this kind of cascade a little bit easier. I put Keeper down here. I was trying to convince myself that Keeper was like an indifferent character, but Keeper is just inherently not that great. The bad tier rate, triple shot being the worst tier modifier, doesn't really do a ton for you. Average shops, free shops is one thing. You can walk into a shop with store key and get, walk in and get a free item, I guess. Or, I mean, you get to walk in a shop for no key. That's nice. Wooden Nickel can be great for money, but he's just... The HP cap is what kills the character, because more often than not, you'll get hit because you can't shoot fast enough, you can't push enemies back fast enough, and that is due to your own triple shot. Apollyon is the most boring A-side character ever invented. He literally just has no... Even Blue Baby has unique mechanics that you don't have. All you have is Void and 1 less heart than Isaac. And Void's not even that good anymore. Void is just kind of very, like, now you know what I mean. It's just, like, it doesn't do much for you anymore. Every item is takeable in Repentance now, so, like, why would I ever want to void up a passive that will either give me a stat or give me an effect anyways? Tainted Laz is still pretty bad. I kind of miss old Tainted Laz, I'll be real with you. Even though he was worse, I had more choice with that character, and the challenge felt more insurmountable, and I like beating runs that feel hard. Now his character is just boring bad, I think, because it's like, oh, here's 2 items per character. You can make some cool synergies off of that, true, but like, I don't see it yet. I just do not see the appeal yet still. I'm sorry. I hate everything. Blue Baby. Only soul hearts. Shitty active item. Shitty active item. No, only soul hearts. Just average stats. Like, he is just unfun. Your runs always feel bad because your HP is always in a bit of a struggle for a while, and you have no way to have no way to reroll stuff and things like that. It's just a very kind of like character. And finally, for my least favorite character in this game, Tainted Apollyon. Probably the biggest disappointment in all of Isaac is him. Every other tainted character, Laz, Azazel, Eve, Lilith, Blue Baby, Bethany, Cain, Lost, Eden, Forgotten, Judas, Samson, Isaac, Magdalen, Jacob, and Keeper. No matter how bad the mechanics are, their mechanics are special and cool. What does this guy get? And like, they also have different characters to play. You play the game entirely differently. You are just Apollyon if you had Void. That is all that you are. You are boring, disappointing, and I hate you. Die. That's the entire list right here. I'm going to screenshot it for the thumbnail, I guess. But aside from that, guys, I've been BD1P. Hope you enjoyed the list here a little bit. I know it was a bit of a shorter video, but, it was important to make this for my own sake. But anyways, guys, I will see you later. Peace out and goodbye.